Hey everyone, this is Erin with Stetzer Builders, and we are at one of our current projects, and we're collaborating with Studio McGee, and they're the designers, and Reagan Andre Architecture. And let's go on inside and we'll take a look at what we have going on. Okay, so we're in the house and we're gonna run through my checklist. So every time I go into a house, when I enter, I have a rule. I have 10 things I need to find no matter what before I leave the house. You're gonna get a lot more than 10 things right now, but go ahead and come along with me as we walk the house. So we're framing the house right now. And so there are some critical things that I need to look at, one of which is framing. So the obvious things, we have an engineered set of plans, but when I'm looking at framing, I always look for how we carry a load down. So right here we have a beam, and we want to make sure that beam, that load is transferred down to another beam, which is then transferred down. And below this, you can't see it, but we probably have a pier or some kind of structure below this to carry the load down. So that's one thing I'm looking at every time I walk into a house. Since we have electrical installed, we are currently running string lines, okay? And these string lines at the intersection represent a recess can. So you can see where we have a conflict right now, and the recess can is not installed right here. So we need to adjust some of this framing to allow for the recess can. While I'm looking up, I'm also spot checking for joist hangers. And joist hangers are these metal looking supports that hold the joist to a beam. So if you look up, you can see right here, this is a joist hanger right here. And so is this joist hanger. So we're just checking for those as we enter the house. As we work our way down, we also want to understand the framing in the walls as we work our way down. So this is what's called fire blocking. So these pieces of wood act as a fire block. So if there's a fire, we want to make sure that we can resist the fire from moving upstairs. And so if you look around the house, you'll see blocking that's actually called fire blocking. I can show you that. While we're here, you can tell that the floor that we're standing on is lower than the other parts of the house, the subfloor. So if you look straight ahead here, this subfloor is lower than this subfloor. And I want to show you why. All right, so here's a little mock-up of where we have stone and wood. And the reason we drop this floor down is that we have prep below the tile, which is called a mud bed. And a mud bed it looks like concrete. And we build the concrete up so that we can get a perfectly smooth, flush, level floor to then accept the stone or tile. This is an antique stone, so it's not perfectly level on the back here, right? So we also need to allow about a 1/4 inch above the mud bed so that we can adjust each individual tile, okay? So as the tile is placed or the stone is placed, we transition to a wood floor, and we want to make sure that transition is flush, right? It's on the same plane, right? We don't want the stone higher and we don't want the stone lower because that's what's called a toe stubber. We don't want toe stubbers. So that's the reason for this subfloor being dropped. We have some mock-ups, and mock-ups are really important because it allows for the entire team, the clients, designers, architects, to actually take a snapshot or a sneak peek at perhaps the trim detailing. So up here, we were given a drawing, and we have now placed the crown molding so that everyone can see what the finished product will look like. This is called a slot diffuser. So this is actually going to be air conditioned, a register where air will be flowing through. So we really wanted to check on the location of this slot diffuser and how it will look. We also want to understand our cabinetry. We were given several different profiles of cabinet doors, right? So this is one cabinet door. This is another cabinet door. And you go on and on. And these are the doors that will be placed in the house in several different rooms. And so we really wanted to take a look at this to understand, again, proportions and if we want to move forward with a certain style. So in this case, we actually decided that we're not going to move forward with some of these and we're going to make some modifications. So again, we're doing this at frame stage because the framing is the most important time to really plan for dimensions. So that's the reason we're doing this so early on in the process. And then this is actually wall paneling here. So we have a certain type of wall paneling that will be installed on the walls, and on the flip side, it's a different type of wall paneling, but we like this one, so we're going with this. Okay, so here we have a drawing. We post our drawings on site and they're laminated for whatever reason. They hold up longer. In this drawing, we have certain dimensions that, I just need to check. And so we have a sconce over here at 6 feet 2 inches. So I'm just gonna check that. See if we hit the spot. Okay, here's something good. So 6 feet 2 inches should be in the center of this light, but our finished floor is higher. So once I get it to finished floor, we hit the mark, 6 feet 2 inches, right? So we have to remember this is the subfloor. So when I'm checking, I need to remember that. We also want to make sure all of our outlets are in the baseboard because we have a baseboard detail. This is our fire blocking that we talked about earlier. We also want to pull on some of these wires and just make sure they're secure. So when I walk a house, I'll go ahead and I'll try to pull things out of the wall, I'll try to kick things. This is a plate here so that we don't nail into a wire. So that's why that plate is there. As we go into the bathroom here, we're checking our outlet heights, right? So we want to make sure, again, our outlet heights are in line with the finished floor, which we're good, 48 inches on center, right? So remember, we have to account for our finished floor and the subfloor moves up and down. So we have to remember that. Okay, when I'm looking in here, again, I'm going to mess with plumbing, right? I'm going to try to shake things around, okay? Again, these plates are here so that a nail doesn't drive into this plumbing pipe. This is water back here. So we don't want to nail into pipes. So that's why these plates exist. Same thing here, right? It's really just protection. If we look up, we're also checking our recess cans and our HVAC alignment. So here we go. We're going to check this line here. Make sure we're centered on this line all the way back, including inside the tub, right? So all of this is really important right now. Okay, and again, we'll check our plumbing, but back here we have our tub spout here, valve, looks really good, really, really good. Thank you so much for joining me on my site walk while I'm running my checklists. And I really appreciate everyone who's watching these videos. And we have lots of information to share with you and we'll continue to do so. So again, I hope this was helpful and we look forward to seeing you soon.